Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books. Tonight I'm asking the question, are they insane at Disney? Are they insane? Are they all there? Are they together? It doesn't feel like they have their act together. All right, I'm going to tell you why. Let's get into this first article. I've got a couple of articles to prove my case. We can ask the question. I think you know what I think. You let me know what you think in the comments below. So this is coming from Bounding Into Comics, great website. Disney's product listing for platinum-dipped Minnie Mouse ears discovered to feature unfortunate sexual innuendo. How ridiculous? This ridiculous. So they make this design for a 100-year anniversary, a platinum anniversary of Disney with Minnie Mouse ears dripping with silver. Okay. So this is how it's described, and this is how it all comes together. It seems Disney editorial woes are no longer exclusive to their Marvel Comics arm, as a piece of innuendo found within their product description for a limited edition set of Minnie Mouse ears has caused the internet at large to do a double take. Okay, and I can see why they would. Produced alongside a similarly themed Mickey Mouse set in honor of the company's commemorative 100th anniversary platinum celebration merchandise line, these platinum-dipped versions of Disney's signature souvenir were first unveiled and made available for pre-order on September 9th, in coincidence with the opening festivities of this year's D23 Expo. Understandably, these items are not actually dipped in liquid platinum, because that would be pretty expensive, but rather feature a shiny topper placed upon a velour version of the standard headwear. All right, so that's cheap. In terms of the concept of the merchandise, dipping it in something that would look like platinum, okay. But the way they describe it is a little out of control. Though Disney likely, and admittedly for good reason, assumed that these $175 Minnie Mouse and $195 Mickey Mouse, see, these are the Mickey Mouse version, Centennial ear variants would receive little attention outside of diehard brand loyalists, an unfortunate line of copy featured in the product description for both versions of the merchandise, though particularly Minnie's, for reasons which will soon become clear, drew them to the attention of the internet at large. Okay, so it's not actually possible to come up with an idea for a Disney product at Disney and just be like, well, I'm one person, I didn't think it through, I wasn't really paying attention, and I just put it into the catalog. This never occurred to me. Now it's part of the brand portfolio. That's not possible. So a lot of people would have had to see this. Even just like the one extra line of strange ad copy, which you'll hear about in a second, even just that gets reviewed by people. So you almost have to think that this is something that he would do deliberately, because it's not, again, it's not like you're just having like some internet catalog and you're describing a sweater and it's, one person who's being paid like $1 a listing to type up a description or something. This is Disney's in-house product. So therein, an employee, presumably without full understanding of how the phrase could be misinterpreted, though definitely humorously, promoted the merchandise by writing, "Minnie is dripping with excitement as she celebrates the centenary of the Walt Disney Company in her typically fashionable style with this ear headband." But you can't write content and just have it published like that. I mean, maybe it's possible they're running it in that sloppy a way, but they're not. What they do is inexcusable sometimes, Disney, but it's not usually a mistake. And it's not usually because it's sloppiness. There's not like a lot of misspellings. Conversely, Mickey's set features the exact same copy, albeit switched for his gender, and likewise asserts that Mickey is dripping with excitement as he celebrates the centenary of the Walt Disney Company with this limited release ear hat. Okay. Unsurprisingly, short after this excited bit of writing was discovered, Disney quickly edited the descriptions for both pieces of merch to instead simply invite fans to celebrate the centenary of the Walt Disney Company with this Minnie Mouse ear headband, Mickey Mouse ear hat. Yeah, they did not need to incorporate the dripping part. However, this change would only be visible for a short while, as Disney has since pulled the platinum-dipped hat and headband's respective pages from their official storefront. Yeah, it's indefensible. Though the company has yet to give an official explanation as to why these pages were removed, this was likely done due to their availability windows having closed on September 11th alongside the doors to D23. I mean, are they out of their minds? How does that happen? Okay, also today, from Bleeding Fool, Cebulski confirms that Marvel is anti-marriage unless the heroes are gay. Kind of like anti-marriage? So no traditional families over at Marvel Comics. Last month, the writer for Spider-Man Crawl Space wrote about his experiences at C2E2, where he got to ask Marvel's current editor-in-chief, C.B. Cebulski, if the publisher was willing to reinstate Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson's marriage. The answer will surprise nobody. The answer I got from Cebulski was, quote, "The thing with Peter Parker is that he always has to be relatable. Getting Peter married or having a family is something that Marvel is not interested in." Oh, this is another, he is Marvel, I guess, Cebulski. Speaking for Marvel. "I can't give you the nice answer you want, unfortunately, and I'm sorry, but I can't give you an answer that'll make you happy." Okay? Peter Parker being relatable, like, well, to who? To a 5-year-old? To a 90-year-old? To who does he have to supposedly be relatable? It's a character. He's obviously gone through a lot of different iterations. There are many different Spider-Mans. His continuity has been started and restarted and changed, obviously, because the character's been around since, the 1960s. So, no, there's really no reason for them to not have a run of continuity. I mean, you can tell me what you think in the comments below, where Peter Parker and Mary Jane wind up getting together. I mean, it actually would make no sense for Peter Parker to not ultimately settle down with someone, talk about relatable, because we all try that in life usually, It's a long story, but we kind of do. Cebulski really is that pathetic, they say in Bleeding Fool, but we knew that already after he apologized for using an Asian pseudonym, because he did do that, for some of the early stories he'd written before, which weren't that good, apparently. He operated under... he used a different Asian name when he was writing some manga stuff for Marvel, which, I don't know. I've heard of using pen names before. I don't know, using racial pen names, maybe that's such a good idea. I haven't thought about it that hard. I don't even know why people care one way or the other, but... So the limp excuse is that marriage and family are unrelatable, but homosexuality apparently is, explaining why they've been shoving it down the audience's throats when Northstar in the past decade and later with Iceman was forced into a role he never was created for. Also, notice that if we go according to the above quotations, Mary Jane Watson, by sharp contrast, is unmentioned, and we must sadly conclude they believe she, as a woman, is not relatable in their twisted visions. Here's more to consider. From the writer. "It boggles my mind on why their reason would justify the characterization who Peter Parker is, of who he is. It's the same reason they gave us back in 2007. There's no logic to it. None. Spider-Man is relatable, yes, but that is not the core of his principal character. His motto is, with great power, there must also come great responsibility." This is probably one of the greatest things to come out of comic books in ever. With great power comes great. How many times have people thought about that? Like, how many times have you thought about that line? How much does that theme relate to superheroes altogether? And becoming a superhero or becoming like a hero in your own life, where you basically are, trying to be something more than what you are, and knowing that when you wind up with power over people, when you wind up in a position of authority, there's going to be responsibility to that. And Spider-Man made you think of that as a kid. Usually you're introduced to that, and it gets you starting to think about like responsibility, in a different way that Luke Skywalker did. Luke Skywalker's an amazing character also, but Spider-Man really gets you thinking about some of the benefits of becoming more powerful, but also the responsibility of becoming more powerful. Because if you don't take those responsibilities seriously, the power winds up corrupting you, and you wind up friggin' miserable. Fascinating stuff. His Uncle Ben taught him that lesson. Thank you, Uncle Ben. That lesson was not for Spider-Man, it was for Peter Parker. Peter respects and admires his uncle, who is a family man. Uncle Ben and Aunt May were his parental guardians. He looked up to them, wanted to honor them, and be like them. How in the world is that not relatable? Good point. Especially if you were casted out as a nerd in high school. Everybody has a hero they look up to, even kids. Kids, teenagers, and even adults look up to their parents or parental guardians as their heroes. That is true. Some of those parents are cops, firefighters, or teachers. That's something relatable and understandable, Marvel. It's true. That's what Peter did. He took the lesson and applied it to Spider-Man, and he had to learn the hard way just to apply it. Hence the classic motto, instead of, I'm relatable, time to go out and make out with a pretty girl. Uncle Ben gave him that lesson to be a man, not a man-child. Well said. A man who he hoped would raise a family one day. Even Aunt May encouraged that lesson. Why do you think she set him up with Mary Jane in the first place? There is no greater responsibility than being a parent. Oh my God, it is a big deal. Who better than the relatable hero who emphasizes great responsibility every day of his life? Kids look up to Spider-Man, and kids look up to these parents or guardians. What if your parent was Spider-Man? That's a PB&J sandwich you can bite into and enjoy. Spider-Girl and ASM RYV have already proved that to have a friendly fan experience. Isn't Spider-Man supposed to be friendly neighborhood? Right. It's time for Marvel editorial to honor the character they publish. It is. They will not. Tell me if you think they will in the comments below. I understand the notion for making a fast buck, but to dishonor the character is just to rile up fans. Won't work these days. Taking them off will only make them drop the book or worse. Don't believe me? Check out the many Discord servers that prove it, including our very own. Marvel editorial needs to take responsibility in Spider-Man and what Stan Lee designed. Well said. At this point in time, Peter needs to be married or married to Mary Jane and raise a family. I can even settle down with the notion of Peter being engaged to Mary Jane. He's honoring his lesson to Uncle Ben, the responsibility of being a husband. MJ accepts Peter both as Peter and Spider-Man. Gwen would never do that. She only accepts Peter, not Spider-Man. Felicia Hardy only accepted Spider-Man, not Peter. Now she tolerates Peter's goody two-shoe mannerism, but doesn't support it, especially when her life decisions come into play. Peter and Mary Jane have already gone through so much together, it fits, and Nick Spencer was the latest person to actually prove that. The amount of continuity these two characters share prove that the marriage wasn't forced. It was destined to be. How well said. I'm definitely giving you a link to these both of these articles in the comments below. And they are big on showing like gay and bisexual themes and stuff like that. And, you know, whatever, that's fine. But it should serve the character, and it should respect, whatever you do, should respect what's been done before. I think that's something we all commonly believe. Just another note on the insanity of Disney. I covered this a little bit yesterday, but Disney has announced Dan Loeb has tweeted, the activist investor, that he is... he's spoken to Bob Chapek, and he's not going to push hard right now for Disney to sell ESPN, which means he'll push to do something else, which is something else we probably all want to see. A lot less destruction of the brands that Disney has acquired and controls. But now you've got Disney, and I thought this was an interesting statement. I've seen a couple of articles on this. So listen to this. So this tweet... this is the tweet from Dan Loeb. We have a better understanding of ESPN's potential. So his tweet follows comments from Disney CEO Bob Chapek, who told journalists at this weekend's D23 Expo that he has big plans for ESPN, though he did not disclose details. Chapek told Variety that, quote, we had no less than 100 inquiries of people that wanted to buy ESPN when word hit that it was potentially up for sale. So when Dan Loeb makes a public statement, even though he only has a fraction of stock, not 1% of the company, but he has credentials and he can move companies to do things. That's what these activist investors do. When he mentioned that ESPN should be sold, they got inundated. He's a massive influencer in the financial community, this Dan Loeb guy. They got inundated with 100 inquiries of serious people. They're not talking about Joe Blow, whatever, trying to buy ESPN. Hey, I'll buy it. No, they're talking about serious companies that had resources, investment companies, variety of companies to buy ESPN when Dan Loeb put out word that it should be sold. So Dan Loeb put on the pressure by urgently announcing that he wanted them to do it, and then he took off the pressure by taking that away. Then you see this. You see Chapek say, quote, so they got 100 inquiries. Quote, what does that tell you? That says we've got something really good, he said. And if you have a strategic plan, a vision where it fits into the company over the next 100 years, then you shouldn't exactly want to divest yourself of it. And we have that plan. We've not shared that plan. So Chapek is saying that they have a 100-year plan for ESPN. Did they not just completely reorient the company around streaming like 2 years ago? Not that that was such a terrible thing to do, but they completely changed the entire focus of Disney just 2 years ago because of recent streaming trend. That also included like all of the content being housed centrally and all the distribution being housed centrally, where they would say like, well, we're going to produce a piece of content and decide how we want to distribute it. So not every movie may make it into the theaters, and not every show is going to be on regular broadcast TV or their cable channels or necessarily on streaming. They're going to figure out how they want to distribute it. Well, is that a 100-year plan? Because they seem to just whip that up, 2 years ago. I don't have a problem with them, doing that. What I do have a problem, though, is to take seriously that Bob Chapek says he has a 100-year plan for ESPN. I mean, are we going to even still be occupying and living on the earth in 100 years? Tell me what you think. I don't think that Bob Chapek knows. I don't think they have a 100-year plan for ESPN. I hope the world is here in 100 years. I'm optimistic about it. There are Japanese companies that famously have like 100-year plans and things like that. That's something about their business and their culture. And it's good to think long term. But I'll believe that Zaslav has a 10-year plan for the DCEU more than I'm going to believe that there's a 100-year plan for ESPN. That sounds like complete bull to me. And lastly, I just wanted to point out, Todd McFarlane I know Todd McFarlane's amazing, all right? But he really, really actually is amazing. I mean, he just pops this stuff out like, oh yeah, by the way, here's another incredible figure. So he's announced this Mortal Kombat 11 Shadow of Spawn figure, okay? Look at this figure. Like, McFarlane does this, like, not in his sleep, but, he's got a team of people. And that's the thing I love to work with a team of people. My work is always so much better when I get to collaborate with super talented people. And everything I've published in recent years has been that way. I don't care about credit. I care about content. I care about things being the best that they can be and being special. And McFarlane is just inspirational. So I'll leave you a link to these new figures and you can kind of check these out. There's a lot of details on them. The packaging is great. Everything is iconic. Everything looks great. And he manages to make these toys affordable too. But that's not it. Of course that's not it. He also put out the Batman Who Laughs as the new Darkest Night with McFarlane. So this is the new Darkest Night figure he's doing. I mean, he just keeps knocking these things out. I like the Spawn figure, to be honest with you, probably better than this figure. But it's cool. It's cool. Darkest Night. Why not? He's amazing. He's amazing. All right. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that they're just insane at Disney? Because it seems a little crazy. It seems like they don't quite know what they're doing or why they're doing it. Did this listing, this product make sense to you? This Disney product listing with the platinum dipped Minnie Mouse ears, and Minnie Mouse is dripping all over the place. I mean, I don't know how that gets through. And what about this whole concept of honoring Spider-Man for the character that he was designed to be? I mean, what a great article and what a great comment and write-up in bleedingfool.com. Make sure you check out their site as well. All right, be sure you are subscribed to the channel because it's a huge help to me, and this way you get my daily video updates, and I have a lot more cool stuff coming, so don't worry about it. Subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications. I'll see you again soon with another video, and if I don't see you, I will miss you.